Tim, what happens to babies when they die?
This is another area where the Bible isn't clear on. I mean, if it was clear, people wouldn't keep having these questions. So let's answer this in 5 minutes or less. There are basically two camps of Christian belief. Now, the first camp says that babies are innocent, so they'll go to heaven. Now, that sounds very nice, politically correct, and it could be right. Well, Matthew 19:14 says, "Let the little children come to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Now, that might help that cause. Now, the second camp says, when babies are born, they're born sinners because of Adam's original sin. If you want to know more about original sin, read John Murray's Imputation of Adam's Sin. Now, basically, we are sinners not because we start sinning, but we sin because we are born sinners. In a way, we are born guilty. And so every sinner needs Jesus Christ to be saved. But since babies haven't really committed to Jesus Christ, they're damned. And as the argument goes, why would Satan try so hard to abort babies when they're all going to heaven? No. Well, that last argument actually fails because Satan will try to destroy all of God's creation. I mean, he's even killing Christians even though he knows they're going straight to heaven. So that argument fails. But original sin, that's a strong argument. Now, the first camp would say that Jeremiah was known by God even when he was in the womb. Jeremiah 1:5. Now, if he had been killed when he was in the womb, then would he have been disowned by God as a sinner? Now, my take on this goes all the way back to predestination. Now, Nathan right here, he was a Christian since he was, what? 13. But God always knew this. I mean, he predestined this even before creation. So even 1,000 years ago, in God's mind, before he was even born, he was a part and a member of God's kingdom. It just hasn't happened yet. So even at age 12, age 10, age 5, he's still treated as a member of the kingdom of God, even before age 13 when he actually confessed Jesus. Even at age 1, even at age 0, he's still a member of the kingdom. As illustrated in Galatians 1:15, set apart even from my mother's womb. So you see, although free will exists in the midst of predestination, his salvation isn't entirely up to him. It's about God's mercy. So then babies, even at 4 years old, 2 years old, 2 days old, 1 day old, even as a fetus, their destination, heaven or hell, isn't based on their choice, but on God's predestination. Now I know this argument has a few holes because God's predestination isn't hypothetical. It has to be realized in actual history, or else it's not real foreknowledge. But I'm just emphasizing here that predestination is not ultimately my choices, but on God's choice. So I'm saying babies don't need a conscious decision, choice, in order to go to heaven. Now, whichever camp you believe in, one thing is true. God is just. God is righteous. Sometimes this question is asked to accuse God of being unjust. But putting all the theories aside, I don't know what happens to babies when they die. But I do know this. God takes care of the weak and broken. He is just, and he always does what is right.